Hi, I'm Gabe.
And I'm Kat.
And we're the Ghouls Next Door. That's us.
Talking about spooky stuff, you know how we do.
That's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And today is our 47th episode. This is in line with our Romance Gone Wrong series that we've been doing.
Yeah.
So we've talked about mostly sex, is what we've been talking about.
Yeah, let's talk about sex, baby.
We did.
We
and
did
now
it.
we're done.
Yeah.
Well, today we're talking more about what happens if you have sex with the wrong person.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about a little bit before, but it's like, this is a little different. Like, the levels of deception go above and beyond. This is like 5-star level deception.
Yeah.
Where, like, the other one was like, I'm going to be a little different. 3 effort. This is 5 effort. You're murdering people to keep your secrets.
Yeah.
It gets real intense.
Exactly. Or to get attention.
Yeah.
So we're...
You know how you do that.
We're talking about more or less like this obsessive, like, lover, stalker, usually with someone that you probably wouldn't be with otherwise or shouldn't be with. It does... The narrative tends to fall into that crazy ex-girlfriend category. Mm-hmm. But in these days, with the age of the friend zone, we also want to shed light on all kinds of stalking. Because it's not just ladies. It's not just your crazy lady who is stalking you. Men do it
real
too.
Good as well.
The internet exists, and it's a scary place.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this year, we were exploring the film Single White Female, and we talked about the blanket term of mental illness to excuse her psychotic behavior.
Yeah.
Today, we're not doing that. We're going to talk about the different levels and the sides of stalking and how that is a mental illness and how these films neglect to do that. Mm-hmm. Like they don't do that blanket term thing, but at the same time now they're not giving us, like, if we were given this identity, like, of them having the mental illness that comes along with stalking, then we might be more inclined to appeal to them, to, like, feel for them in some way.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, what we're seeing is just like, bitch is crazy, you know? Like, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Usually with women, it's just like, she's crazy. There's no reason, understanding, or anything. It's just like, she just was born with not many screws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's a man, it's just like, well, it's your fault for, like, he's trying to save you. And it's your fault for not realizing that he's the gem that you didn't realize was always in front of you.
I don't know if I felt that way while watching you.
Well, that's because we got a different point of view. Yeah, we
that's
watched...
fair. I'm going to say, though, I wasn't like, oh, I wish I had one of those. Oh, I'm missing out. Sure am. I really wished I had this guy that was super obsessed with being murdering people on my behalf. He saw it that way.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. That it's... For his perspective, he thinks she cannot take care of herself, so he has to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to talk about Netflix's series You, starring Bagdley.
Yes.
No worries. And also a favorite of mine from when I was younger, which is Swimfan, which would be like the teen version of Fatal Attraction, essentially.
Yeah, it was a time, indeed.
Yeah. I didn't feel like watching Fatal Attraction. But we are going to talk about it as well, just because there's things to say, because it would be absurd to not mention that film when you're talking about stalkers. Mm-hmm. But, like, I actually somewhat recently had read this book by Leanne Moriarty about a stalker. It was the hypnotist's love story. And so it's like takes place from the point of the hypnotist who's, like, falling in love with this guy who has a stalker. Mm-hmm. And then you also see the point of view of the stalker. And it was so interesting, like, Moriarty has such a really good way of, like, or she has a talent for being able to, like, make these otherwise monsters into, like, people. Like, you feel for them. Like, I was like, oh my God, she's crazy. Like, there's no way that I'm going to understand this stalker. And then it, like, switches over to her point of view. And I was like, oh man, like, you see how it's, like, affecting her. Like, she loses her job, she knows it's crazy, but she's compelled to do it. And the whole time you're just, like, rooting for her to not get him, but to get better. So, like, it was such a refreshing point of view, as opposed to just being like, oh, your crazy ex-girlfriend doesn't want to leave you alone. It's like, oh, probably because like you let her on and you were such a big part of her life and then you just dropped her and it totally like made her lose herself. Yeah. And she also wasn't stable to begin with.
I feel these things. It is, I mean, also if you're thinking about like, it's a comedy, but with the literal title, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, there's like so much happening with that where like, clearly she is unwell.
Yeah.
We want her to get better. The people in her life, even the ones who are on the receiving end of the stalking, want her to get better. And it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what point I was making. I'm very sick. For context. Hello, world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. She's the protagonist, right? Mm-hmm. We're seeing it, and she does crazy things, but we're also seeing how she's justifying it. Yeah. So you get this, like, point of view from that, and then
you really see
it's
the
not
mental,
so...
like, well, why am I here? Like, she does kind of do that, even though sometimes you're just like, that doesn't justify it, though, at the same time.
Yeah, like, even... like at the end of the season is when you see her kind of do that flashback of like, oh, if you looked at this from a different point of view, not through my crazy lens, then you see that I'm nuts. Yeah. And that anyone else would have been like, this is not okay. This is not a love story. Yeah. It's just like, it's you with a woman and minus murder. Yes. It's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So we're gonna talk about Stalkers and what that's about. And then we're gonna talk about these films to tie it all together.
Yeah, nice. You know how we do that. That's great.
Yeah, good job. We tell you all the facts. Your facts, still facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah, spooky stuff. All right, so facts. We're talking about Stalkers. So essentially what I really wanted to talk about was this idea, there tends to be this kind of idea that either a woman is the crazy ex-girlfriend who's stalking you. Mm-hmm. Like you hear about the crazy ex, whatever. Or there's like this kind of pseudo rumor that all women want to be stalked to some degree. That it's like, you're worthy of that attention and now I want to be stalked. Like no one wants to be stalked, but it's like this rumor that's just like, but if you were, you'd feel like a tinge of like gratification and like, oh, I'm special enough that someone's like destroyed their whole life to follow me around, which is nuts and inaccurate.
Yeah. I guess because we have that whole culture of like everyone's putting themselves out there. You want to be seen. You hear that line a lot. And where it's like, you want to be seen, don't you? Yeah. And it's because like they're posting things on Instagram or like the way they're portraying themselves. And it's like, no, you're just being a person.
Yeah. It's just the 21st century where social media is ingrained in our lives.
Selfies are culture. Doesn't mean you want someone to follow you home and look through your windows all the time.
Yeah. Well, so there's like, women have this innate desire to be wanted, pursued, desired, which when it's skewed to fit that narrative of something like you, it validates stalkers and perpetuates this ideology that if men just keep persisting, the woman will eventually come around because they want you to try harder.
50 no's and 1 yes is a yes.
Yeah.
It's not.
Just keep going until you just keep battering her until she's like, fine, just will you leave me alone?
It's like torture where you torture someone enough that they'll say whatever you want them to say to make it stop.
It's not going to stand up in court. But the thing is that there's a difference. So there's a difference between being pursued in something like a romantic comedy, right? Mm-hmm. Where there's these big grand gestures that serve to validate feelings that the woman was seeking all along, right?
The line between cute and crazy.
Yeah. Like the point of romantic comedies is that there has been tension this entire time and the woman has been very forward about it and the man has just never really said it or come to terms with it. Like there's always like this resistance, like, will they, won't they? But the big difference between it being endearing in something like a romantic comedy as opposed to like real life stalking is that those grand gestures happen like repeatedly despite being told no constantly.
Yes.
Right. So like in romantic comedies, it's like, oh, we're just friends, whatever. In real life, it would be, we're just friends. And he's just like, but we should be more. And she's like, no, we're just friends. And he's like, but we should be more. And she's like, no, we're just friends. That is not a romantic comedy.
Friends.
That's how you spell friends.
Okay.
It's the best song ever. Yeah. Yeah, essentially what it reduces the woman to when it's just stalking is that she's just an object of your desire, expressing that essentially they have no interest or actually want these women, like, as a person. They don't value your friendship. They just want to own and possess you and fix you in some way. Like, that's not what love is.
Yes.
In any way.
I concur.
Yeah. And I think what's important about the show that we're going to discuss, which is You and Netflix, is this constant, like, reminder that Joe believes he's doing this to protect Beck. He says he's saving her and that he makes her life better. And in some ways he does.
Yeah.
And she says so. She said it in the end. But she was also like, but this is my life. Like, I'm the one who's allowed to make the problems. Like, I'm allowed to make mistakes. This is my life. I'm making these decisions. You can't just come in here and be like, I fixed you. Now you owe me everything. You're locked in a glass box.
I think also, though, there were things that were being fixed that didn't necessarily need to be fixed the way that they did.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're fixing somebody's life, if it involves murder, it's probably not the best way.
Yeah.
There are probably other ways to do these things that are still crazy, but maybe just slightly less.
Absolutely.
You don't have to go to prison for it.
Yeah. People don't have to lose their lives.
You don't have to lock them in a box when they find out because you've not murdered anybody.
Yeah.
You can just be like, oh yeah, that was a lot. I'm sorry. That was weird. And like, maybe they'll forgive you because you didn't murder anybody. Yeah. You don't have a box of teeth in your ceiling. It's reasonable. It's reasonable levels.
Yeah.
Cute and creepy. Which one?
Exactly.
I don't know.
There's a line. And he crossed it so much. Like, essentially there is a difference between love and emotional blackmail. Right? Yeah. There's this example of, like, emotional blackmail and, like, that repetitive, like, despite being told no, or, like, essentially, like, manipulating and to a degree gaslighting and being like, you've meant yes this entire time and you just don't know it. Like, you don't know what's good for you and it's me kind of thing. That back in September 2017, there was this viral story about a guy who was dumped by his girlfriend of 4 months. 4 months.
That's not very long.
That's not very long at all. And he decided that the best way to get her back would be to play a piano nonstop until she realized her mistake. Like, he just, like, played in this park and then people would be like, oh, it's beautiful. And he was just like, this is for this girl and maybe she'll finally realize it. And then people, like, went off on him on Twitter and were just like, it's okay for people to break up with you. It's okay for you to just move on. Like, you can't, like, what are you trying? Like, oh, please stop harassing your neighbors by playing music all day. Of course I'll go back on a date with you. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it's a little wild.
Or similarly, if we're going more recent, Offset ruined a Cardi B concert by storming on her set to make a public apology and plea for her to take him back. Yeah. So, like, essentially it's just leaving Cardi humiliated in front of her fans who's trying to perform. And so, yeah, you know, like, and it's supposed to be that grand gesture. And she had talked later, like, oh, they're going to therapy, and that was his thing, and they're trying, they have a baby, it's important.
Yeah.
But it's like...
It wasn't like that had been a little blip of 2 months, and then they were like, oh, what? You don't like me?
Yeah.
Like, no, they were married and have a kid. But it's definitely still not okay.
Yeah, it's still like, you could do that a different way.
Yes.
You don't
interrupt
have to...
your place of work. It's like Ross and Rachel, except not, but, like, also...
Yeah, Ross and Rachel's a problem, too.
Really jealous, and was sending her all this stuff to her work. Yeah. And she was like, she got really mad. She was like, this is my place of work. I don't come to your work and, like, sing to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's not professional. You're going to make me lose my job. This is a line that you're crossing. Yeah. This isn't cute. This is creepy.
Yeah. Well, that's
and he didn't understand.
That's how they, like, get you, right? Because they manipulate the point of view and they force their hand. And then in the end, they're like, see, you just needed a push.
It's like, no.
You wanted this all along. But it's like, no. It is okay for someone to break up with you. It's okay for someone to say no. And this feeling of obligation of being owed is the problem.
Yeah.
Because you are not owed the affection of another person simply because you were a nice person to them.
Oh my god, it's the nice guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
life is ruined. Ew. It's the nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm such a nice guy. Why don't want this
That's
woman
not the
It's
thing.
like, no, you're not that nice. Relax yourself.
Yeah. You're not owed that just for being, like, just be nice because that's what people should be.
Mm-hmm.
If you're being nice because you want something, then you're not nice. That's not how that works. It's like if you do charity so that you can record it to put it on social media.
Stuff.
Yes.
Like, 100%. Don't do a good deed if you're expecting something back, so it makes it not a good deed. It
negates it, yeah. Like, the core issue is that when you have these ideas, the pursued party is no longer a person, but rather an object. Something to be attained, something owed them. Friend zone guys were never friends. There's no friend zone because you're not a friend. They're just men in waiting, believing themselves to be the true hero and the one who can save you. And give you the love they think you deserve without taking any real consideration on part of their so-called friend.
Yeah.
Like, there's a really good post I'll probably put on our social media, but it was like, have you ever been Fckzoned? It's like when you really just want to be friends with someone, but all they want to do is fuck you. I was like, yo, it's real. There's good ways that we see, there's good representations of this on Netflix, specifically in their show Sex Education, where Otis is talking to a kid who is clearly infatuated with a girl that he's actually never met. Mm-hmm. Like, she doesn't know who he is, but he's sending her flowers, he's writing in her lawn, he's sending her letters. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
And Otis is like, well, you've made all that clear, and she has said no. So maybe the answer is that she is just not interested in you. And he's like, well, maybe the letter got lost in the mail. And he's like, but you wrote it on her lawn. It's like, maybe like this happened. And he's like, no, you have made it very, very clear. And each time she has been like, nah. So
that's
give up.
Your answer, man.
Yeah, just take that as an answer and give up. And like, that is a plot point, like later, that he like explains that, and that kid is in trouble, and he's just like, no, leave this girl alone. They don't end up together, and it's great.
Yes, I agree that it's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I'm saying is, like, there is a way to do that. There's also this perception that the bad, scary men always look like monsters.
It's not true.
That's not true. Like,
there are plenty of horrible, terrifying men who are, like, reasonably attractive.
Yeah. Well, so also on Netflix, you have the Ted Bundy tapes, and he's like this big thing. And Netflix has come out. Both Netflix and Penn Bagdley have been like, do not lust for Joe from you. And then Netflix is also like, do not lust over Ted Bundy. He's a literal murderer. Yeah. Like, both of them are the heroes of this story. But when you take a story like Ted Bundy and everyone's just thirsting over him, you're all wrong. He's ugly. But that's besides the point. The thing is, like, Anne Rule, who wrote the book A Stranger Beside Me, had worked alongside him at a suicide hotline for years. Yeah. And she, like, during his murder spree, like, she knew who he was. Like, they were friends. And despite, like, all these alarming similarities between him and the murder suspect, including his car, which was a yellow Volvo, the physical description, his literal name, she still, like, took forever because she was just like, it can't be this Ted. It has to be a different Ted who has all these things in common, who happens to be in the same places as this guy who's also named Ted. We're driving his car. Yeah. And it takes forever for her to be like, hey, cop people, like, it could possibly be my friend, right? Because what you think of when you think of someone who's strangling and murdering college students is probably not Ted Bundy. Yeah. You think of, like, a gross monster man, and that's not the case.
It's like normal-looking people can be horrible inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Like John Wayne Gacy, who's a killer clown, was a predominant member in his community in government. Dennis Rader, who's BTK, was a Boy Scout leader and a member of his congregation. Those who want to hurt us are not always monstrous men with pervy mustaches and rotting teeth. Sometimes they're your friendly next-door neighbor who doesn't know boundaries.
So often that you also see, like, the abusive husband. That's also usually someone who's, like, a big player in the community. He's, like, a well-to-do guy. He looks nice. Everyone likes him. And then you find out he's, like, brutally beating his wife. And that's, like, so many episodes of Law & Order SVU.
Absolutely. It happened because there's a front that they're putting up.
Yeah.
And it's
I couldn't possibly. He's such a nice guy. And it's like, no, you don't know him in and out. So, like, relax yourself.
Yeah. So I think it's like with
Dissociation is a thing.
people are having this problem because they're like, Joe, and we'll talk about it when we get to like the film section, but people are having a hard time understanding that he is the bad guy. He is definitely the antagonist of this story.
Oh, yeah. And I remember us talking about it too, where we're like, I hate that I like, this is
there
awful.
are pieces, but that's what he was designed to do because it's really honestly realistic in that way.
Yeah. People are human. So we're also going to talk about how women are generally portrayed as crazy, but in reality, most murderers of women are their husbands, boyfriends, or lovers. Mm-hmm.
Statistically.
What?
Statistically,
yes. I don't actually know for a fact. I haven't gone out and surveyed people, but statistically saying that is the truth.
Yeah.
Also, my husband, who's not actually my husband, but I just really think he's great, Donald Glover, said, why don't women have crazy men's stories? I don't really hear them. And then I realized it's because if you got a crazy boyfriend, you're going to die. Just something about men. The second they realize they're crazy, it's like, time to kill everyone I love.
Which is sad, but super true.
It's definitely really sad, and it's definitely super true. Mm-hmm. Like, the second they're like, oh, I may be kind of not okay. Let's murder everything I love and care about. Talking about it won't solve anything. Yeah. Toxic masculinity.
Ruins the party, yeah. I mean, and that's not to say that there aren't crazy women who murder, because that has definitely happened. I just finished watching like a 3-part series about Jodi Arias, so I get it. Mm-hmm. And then there's also like recently in the news was that woman who sent like 1 million text messages to that guy that she like talked to on Tinder or something once. Uh-huh. And there was like one text message where she mentioned she was going to turn him into sushi or something. It was nuts.
Yeah, that sounds...
So they exist on both sides. But statistically, if we're like, yeah, there's crazy ex-girlfriends, whatever. But men are able to tell that story. Whereas women, if you have a crazy ex-boyfriend, you're probably really scared.
Yeah, no, it's really real. And I feel like it has a lot to do, I feel like, with like just in general, the toxic masculinity, where you don't really learn how to like deal with your not good emotions. Mm-hmm. And it's not okay to be weak, and it's not okay to like say sorry because that makes you not masculine. So let's murder everything. Like that. Yeah. I get where the thought process is going.
Absolutely.
But according to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, RAINN, 8 out of every 10 sexual assaults are committed by someone who knows the victim. Moreover, as a 2018 United Nations report revealed, women are more likely to be murdered by an intimate partner, family member, or someone they know more than someone they do not know. So abusers are not just ominous figures waiting to jump out of the shadows. They're likely people in positions of power or like your friends. That was by Dr. Blaustein, founder of Women Strong International. Mm-hmm. It's explained from bustle.com.
Yeah.
You're welcome,
Bustle Magazine.
We read things.
Yeah. And we're going to educate you on... So stalkers aren't just like one, like we're not just saying like someone who lurks in the dark. We're not saying that one person who like sends you like 3 emails because they don't take a hint. Like there's levels, there's different kinds of stalkers even, because this is like a mental illness.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's like, if you don't have, I will say as a person myself, I've done weird stuff when I like somebody a little too much, when I was like in my middle school, high school years. And it's definitely weird now thinking about it. I was like, oh, that was a little out of it. That was probably not okay. Would like walk home the long way past their house. That's weird.
That is weird.
It's a weird thing to do. But I did that because I was crazy as a middle schooler. And I was like, boys. But like, yeah, like it's Tina. Like once you like realize the things that are wrong in your brain and you try to do better, you can. It's amazing. But unfortunately, WebMD says the overwhelming majority of stalkers are men, 4-1. Psychiatrists have developed several stalker profiles. So this is really interesting. So get ready. The rejected stalker. This person was rejected in a relationship and they perceive it as an insult. They feel wounded and then are seeking vindication. So that sounds like murder's going to happen.
Yeah.
The resentful stalker. These people are self-righteous, self-pitying people who may threaten, but they're the least likely to act on it. So I kind of get the vibe of, I'm such a nice guy. I don't understand.
Yeah. This is like the guy from Contracted. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
he felt like he deserved it. So he's essentially stalking her by coming to her job every day. But he's not going to do anything.
Yeah, no, that's really real. And we probably know people like that in life, unfortunately. Yep. The intimacy-seeking stalker, they believe they are loved or will be loved by the victim. Often, they focus on someone of higher social status. This person is mentally ill or delusional. So they don't have that actual connection with the person. They have fabricated this idea of what being with them was like and are basing everything off of that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the guy who tried to kill Bjork. He was like super obsessed with her and he tried to kill her. Like he doesn't know Bjork, but because she's this big star, he feels like he knows her better than anyone else because she's in the spotlight. And Jodie Foster as well also had a stalker like that. Yeah,
these things are real. The incompetent. This person is socially backward. He doesn't really understand the social rules involved in dating or romance, but he doesn't mean any harm. That one I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that one's like, they don't know that that's not how you're supposed to act. Yeah. So those are the people who are like really like forward and uncomfortable, usually probably on the like just not understanding like dating rules and are too new to understand what boundaries are really. Which is like, at that point, it's like not entirely their fault. It's just a matter of someone being like, hey, that's not how that works.
I feel like that was me in middle school, and I had good friends who were like, hey, this is a lot. You're doing a lot. You need to chill out. And I was like, oh, so this doesn't help him like me. And they're like, no, sweetie, no, it doesn't. I was like, oh, okay. And then I stopped, and now I'm normal. You don't see my eyes, but they look crazy. The predator. This is about sexual gratification, control, and violence. The stalker doesn't necessarily know the victim. The victim may not know she is being stalked, but the predator plans their attack, rehearses it, and has a lot of like sexual fantasies about it.
That sounds like serial killers.
Yeah, that also sounds like the worst one.
Like Joe from You.
Really? I got more of the intimacy seeking one.
Oh, I guess you're right, because he's not really about. Well, he's about
the control. He didn't seem like he wanted to kill her initially.
But not violence. Yeah. But the control, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
I think he definitely got there. But it was not until the very end. He seemed like he wanted to help her.
Probably the intimacy-seeking stalker.
Isn't that what I said?
I don't know.
I thought I said that.
You probably did.
Cool.
I agree with you, Kat. I'll put that in.
Excellent.
I agree with this statement. What you said is what I feel.
Yes, we are one. Also, Fatal Attraction is a film. Did you know? That comes to mind when exploring this idea about the obsessed woman. It started the Bunny Boiler Archetype, which is a woman who acts vengefully after having been spurned by her lover, which was named such because Glenn Close's character Alex does just that after being spurned. AKA, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Got you. So Fatal Attraction never mentions mental health except to call her a crazy bitch repeatedly. That sounds right. Yeah. Glenn Close says this about portraying Alex. I think it's very tricky to portray mental illness faithfully. It's so easy to make someone with a mental illness a villain. And that's definitely true in a lot of movies we've seen.
Yeah.
Where it's just like blatant statement, that person's crazy. And it's like, that's not the whole thing. There's probably a lot of reasons.
Absolutely.
I come from a trauma-informed care background, though, so I'm like, what's wrong with that person? Why are they there? What happened to them? It's not their fault, probably. Like, what is their story?
Yeah.
Not everyone feels that way.
And in the interaction with Fatal Attraction and Glenn Close's character, Alex, is that, like, in the film, again, they don't express anything about her having a mental illness, right? She's just crazy. She's a crazy bitch who boiled her daughter's bunny, right? At the end of the film, like, it's notorious that, like, the audience was like, kill that bitch, like, chanting it. And, like, yeah, clearly, like, at that time, she seems like this villain, but Glenn Close has been really good about it, where she's, after that role, had, like, studied and was like, we weren't made aware that like, this is actually a mental illness. And, like, it's never brought up, and she actually should be getting help. And she said, Glenn Close said the only villain that she's ever played was Cruella de Vil.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
right.
so she doesn't believe Alex is a villain. She just thinks that she didn't get any help, which is true.
Yeah, and it's just, you see that a lot where, like, people are very quick to just think, like, it's their fault entirely. Like, oh, it's just like, women are just so easily put in that crazy bitch slot when there's so much more happening 9 times out of 10. And it's just like, that's not cool, man.
Yeah.
Let's not kill that bitch.
Help. Yeah, let's not
I will
do
say
that.
during Get Out, I felt strongly on that end.
Yeah.
That was like the one movie where, like, if a chant happened,
yeah,
I would have participated. But I feel bad about that now. And thinking about it more, mental illness.
She
problems.
definitely was brainwashed to some degree. But yeah, I think, and it kind of works both ways, right? Because it's all stalkers. Because it's not just like we don't just have sympathy for like the misunderstood female stalkers. We also understand that there's misunderstood male stalkers too, because of the culture that we live in, like you were saying with toxic masculinity. Like, you're raised where rejection is like the worst thing that could ever happen, which makes you result into these really extreme gestures, right? Or this going around with this mentality that you're owed a woman, as opposed to like getting to know someone and caring about them as a person and not as an item. Like, it's just, we need to rework the way that people are seeing other people. But on the same end of that, there's both really terrifying stalker women, i.e. Jodi Arias, or the crazy lady with the sushi or whatever. And then there's crazy men like Ted Bundy. Like, we don't, like, there are dangerous people and then there are sick people, and we need to be aware of both of them.
Yeah. Or true.
Cool. If you murder, you're just immediately like, you're evil. But like, if you haven't murdered, there's still hope. There's still hope for you.
I think that's the line.
Yeah.
The line between cute and crazy. Have you murdered yet?
Yeah. It's not cute. When you do those grand gestures 1,000,000 times, and I've said, no, it's not cute. You're being crazy now, and let's talk about it. You need to chill.
Yeah. There's
Go
a
to therapy.
creepiness
It's
line
okay.
that's happening that can be redeemed. You cannot be redeemed if you have murdered.
We watched some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff.
All right, and we watched some stuff. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
So we watched 2 things. Well, we watched things. But for this episode, we watched 2 things.
2 things specifically.
Yeah. So we took a nice trip down memory lane for Gabe.
Which was brand new for me.
Yeah. I don't know why I was so obsessed with this film, but I do vividly remember it and having watched it quite a few times, which is very bizarre. I don't know. I really dug it. I can't imagine why, honestly.
I mean, it was entertaining. It was a lot.
It is a lot.
But it was entertaining.
So we watched Swimfan.
Yes.
Which is from 2002. So that's how old it is.
Yes.
Which is to say very. And Swimfan follows a high school senior with a promising swimming career who has a one-night stand with consequences. This is directed by John Poison. So, this is a one-night stand gone wrong. This is actually that.
Yes, because rape did not happen.
Yeah. Like, no one deserves to be stalked and tormented in this way. But he did have sex with her willingly. Yes. And knew that he was cheating on his girlfriend.
Yes.
Which happens to be, like, what happens in Fatal Attraction as well.
Yes.
So, like, essentially, Swimfan is Fatal Attraction for teens. No bunnies are murdered, but girlfriends are run over, and best friends are bludgeoned. So, like, stuff happens.
For it.
What I thought was interesting, so similar to Contracted, Ben, the main character, has a shady past, which allows like this villainous character to influence how others are seeing him. And like essentially the path is made very easy to portray him as the villain, to hit the people who supposedly care about him.
Yeah.
Because they reference like drug addiction in the past. They reference like crime because he like breaks into her locker when he first meets her. Like, and that the girlfriend like saved him or whatever. So he like has this bad boy narrative that's very easy for people to be like, oh, you're just doing it again.
Yeah.
which sucks.
Yeah.
But also, I mean,
he wasn't
can't
very
blame
nice
them.
in parts of it. It's for true.
Yeah. There's absolutely no mention of a mental illness.
Nope.
At all, which she very clearly has. She incredibly has this.
Yep.
She's just like...
She does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like she showed, like, in this film, she's portrayed to be this crazy woman who just very clearly wants more than what Ben is willing to offer.
Uh-huh.
But he also, like, kind of gives it to her in a way. Like, when they hook up the first time, she's like, say you love me. And he's just like, oh.
Love
and she's
you.
like, it's nothing. And then he says it. And then later she's like, but you said you love me. And he's like, yeah, because you told me. And it's like, if we were to take that into, like, if someone else just overheard that, it's like, yeah, sometimes that does happen in a relationship. So it would be perceived. Like, you don't realize that it
is as weird as it is.
Yeah. Like, when you put it into context, like, they had sex, like, once. And then she, like, went and met his mom behind his back.
Sure did.
Super weird. She's just, like, this teen dream version of Glenn Close's Alex. And we are given this kind of, like, as a viewer, you're led to that relief at the end when the crazy bitch is killed. But unlike a single white female, no one is trying to help her in her mental illness.
It seemed like even her family was against her because, like, the cousin helps.
Yeah.
Like, basically get her.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, you don't know her parents or anything. Like, you don't know actually her story. You just know that the last guy she was with got in an accident.
Yeah.
And now she's been trying to replace him with this new person.
Yeah.
And she's always just kind of been mean. It's the vibe.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, something happened to her. Like, he is in a coma, the person that she cares about. And then she was just kind of shipped away.
Yeah.
To live in this other place. And now, like, she hasn't healed. She hasn't figured herself out. And she also was, like, a nothing character. There was we don't know anything about her.
Yeah, nothing at all.
She is just the crazy person. In no way was she, like, humanized.
Built up, yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier to be like, that bitch killer.
Yeah. I don't think anyone was good in this film, like, as a person.
The girlfriend was.
The girlfriend was okay. She was good. The one thing that really aggravated me was at the end, Ben has this, like, whole moment where he's, like, with the girlfriend. Because she, like, one, she found out that he cheated on her. Two, she got run over, like, twice. And, like, abducted. And, like, almost drowned. Like, all this stuff. But when that happens, like, he comes and he, like, confesses to her that his dad had cheated on his mom and that he was like, he's a monster. I never want to come him. But, like, he 100% cheated on her with Madison.
Yeah.
Like, pursued her. Like, he went over to her house knowing that she was interested in him. And then, like, when she was just like, let's go here and I don't want to go home yet. Let's go swim in the pool, be in our underwear. Like, he knew 100%. Where was your caring about what your dad did then, Ben?
I think he was using it to, like, justify his actions. So, like, he was trying so hard to not be like him, but now he is just like him.
Yeah, he's trash.
Yeah. But, like, I think it was more so not to be like, oh, that's why he wouldn't want to. I think he felt like he couldn't be different because that's his dad. It's his blood.
I don't know. I just saw it as, like, him trying to make an excuse.
Oh, it definitely was him trying to make an excuse, but...
And I thought it was a dumb excuse.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Like,
it's a dumb
cheating
excuse.
isn't genetic.
It's not. That's really real.
That's not
Just because your dad did a thing does not mean you will do the thing.
Yeah, you should be like, I saw what happened to my mom. I wouldn't want to do that to anybody.
A lot of people have a hard time learning from other people's mistakes.
That's true.
They have to do it themselves.
That's gross.
Yeah.
The way he did it is gross, is what I'm saying.
I agree.
He just met that girl. Anyway, there's a lot of funny things about this film, though, because it's 2002, right? So, like, 2 years before that, we thought the world was going to end because computers can do numbers, right? Uh-huh. And so, like, computers and, like, I feel like 2000 to 2005 is
We're
just
like,
bizarre.
Oh, we didn't know what we were doing. We thought we weren't going to get this far.
Yeah, everything is super wacky.
Wait for 2012. Let's see.
Yeah, like, who knows?
It's all going down.
But my favorite thing with, like, early 2000s media is how absurd it is with technology and with, like, chat and computers.
Yeah.
Like there's like the poster for Swimfan and it's Swimfan with an @ sign at the end. And it's like, that's not how that works. That's not how you tag things. Swimfan @ That's not Swimfanat. Swimfanat is what it is.
It's great.
There's so many, and it's like, it's called Swimfan because it's referencing her chat username, which is Swimfan85. But there's literally a chat for like 2 seconds when she sends a nude.
Yeah.
That's it. And in the library, in their big ugly computers, and it does that load thing where it would load just a sliver of the picture, and then it slowly like each sliver was revealed. It was so good. It just was like, remember this? Remember that time?
The AOL login.
Yeah, and all the text was like very like, it's like Arial. Like, like generic text. Enter your commands. Like
you could change it for your little like, I'm away right now.
Yeah.
You could like code like MySpace.
Yeah.
For your AIM passwords and stuff. It was cool.
And the posters for it were really funny. But it was it's just like, it goes really fast, this story, but I don't think they give Madeline, one, a character, or two, any justice.
Yeah, that's true. She's just crazy. And then she's dead.
Yeah. And she, like, didn't have to. I just, like, they definitely do that thing where they want her, like, they want you to want her to be dead at the end.
Oh, yeah. We watched another thing. Sure did, we did. You know how we do that. We watched You on Netflix, which is very popular right now. I was at work, and I hadn't seen You yet. And everyone was like, what? You have a horror podcast. You haven't seen You? And I was like, nah, we're going to watch it this weekend, I guess.
I couldn't be on the internet for quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't know how big of a thing it was. And then everyone was talking about it. I was like, all right, cool. I guess we got to fit in. But also it's relevant, so cool.
Yeah, it works. And it's really worth it.
Oh, yeah, it was a really great show. It's from 2018. And it is a clever bookstore manager relies on his savvy internet know-how to make the woman of his dreams fall in love with him. Mm-hmm. I think that is a very vague title for the reality of what You was, which was definitely just some real intense stalking.
Yeah. Well, like, so it's based off of a book.
Yes.
And the book also takes place from Joe's perspective. So what's really interesting about You, so if you haven't watched it, it's this guy who's pursuing this woman that he sees once. Like, she talks to him in his bookstore. And from then, he somehow, like, gets her first and last name. Well, because she goes by Beck, which is her last name. And then she says it's going to be or whatever. So he finds her on the internet, and then he's stalking her on the internet. And from her internet presence, he has decided that she needs to be saved, that she wants attention, that her friends are trash, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all told from his, like, point of view and his narration. And Netflix has done a really cool thing. They and I'm going to share it with you guys. They sent out this, like, video that shows, like, without Joe's narration, the show is just like him. Like, he is quiet all the time. It's just a lot of awkward silences. Yeah. Because all of the narration is happening in his head. So there's just moments where it's just absolutely quiet. And she just has to be like, cool. What? Why? Like, it's so weird. And, like, I had someone on Facebook who'd said, like, a Bird Box challenge would be to wear a blindfold, so you're just hearing what Joe says, and seeing, like, how different the story would be. Like, if you're not seeing what's happening, if you're just hearing him, it sounds like a romantic comedy almost. Like, oh, he runs into you, and he's like, of course he has to save you, Beck, because you're drunk and you're just a mess.
Yeah, no, he definitely paints himself as, like, this hero, and I think it would be really entertaining to watch it without the narration, and I really want to now, because that sounds like it'd be really scary, but, like, really entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, just think about the part where he's outside of her house. It's, like, episode 1, and he's just, like, masturbating.
Yeah, that's, like, a thing that happens.
Like, yeah, and that's like, episode 1, and yet still people, like, that's, like, level 10 creepy stalker, right? Is if you're masturbating outside of someone's house just by watching them, right? That's crazy. Yet it is paired with like all this romantic prose and like I'm gonna save you, whatever, so that people are still like hung up over him.
Yes. So Twitter has a lot to say.
So Penn Bagdley, the actor who plays Joe in You, he has gotten quite a few different tweets to him because of his character.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So one user had said something like, "Kidnap me, please," and he said, "No, thanks." Someone else said this already, but at Penn Badgley is breaking my heart once again as Joe. What is it about him? And Penn readily answered, "He is a murderer." He like kept going back and forth where like people are just like, one, they have been comparing his character in You, who's very blatantly the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
To his character that he plays in Gossip Girl.
Yeah, people
who
have
is
said that.
the friend zone guy. Or not the friend zone, but the manipulative, you owe me guy. I've never watched Gossip Girl.
Me neither, but I heard that.
I think that he is Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
Someone tweeted me. Okay,
Someone
cool.
told me that he is Gossip Girl.
So, I mean, that's the level of crazy. Because if it's anything like what I'm thinking, it's like Pretty Little Liars. He's like A, right? So it's like he has some kind of control over them. So that's
I have no idea what Gossip Girl is, but like I've been told he is Gossip Girl. So,
yeah. So like essentially, he was like kid version. So he was essentially someone was like, there's a lot of similarities between that character and this one. So what are you doing, Penn? And he's like, you're right. I need to talk to my agent. He's like,
because no one's ever going to want to sex with me again.
Yeah.
I'm officially the creepy guy. But will they still want to?
Yeah.
Because somehow it's endearing.
It is.
Yeah.
Netflix has also been like crazy about both Joe and the Ted Bundy tapes, or Netflix itself has tweeted, "I've seen a lot of talk about Ted Bundy's alleged hotness and would like to gently remind everyone that there are totally thousands of hot men on the service, almost all of whom are not convicted serial murderers."
These things are true.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Did you forget, world? There's many people who are not serial murderers who are hot.
Yeah. What I was thinking when I was like really diving into this is that essentially Joe is a hot incel.
That sounds right to me.
Right? Like he, like a little less so, like he doesn't have that like overt thing of like, this woman owes me and like she belongs to me inherently as a woman, but he has that like, I am owed a person. And because I do all this work, now she owes me kind of thing.
I've murdered for you.
Yeah. And so like, it's like, no one asked you to murder. And they do put all these weird like, redeeming things in there that are, it's essentially like they're gaslighting the audience. Like when they make his relationship with the neighbor boy and like his relationship with other people and his relationship with Beck, like on like front facing.
Yeah.
Like they're gaslighting us because they're manipulating what the story is, even though we know the truth. We are seeing the truth. We see him murder and we're still like, but he's really nice to that little boy.
It's real. It's very real. Like I remember feeling so conflicted while watching it because I was like, oh, I feel for this guy, and I really should not, like,
yeah.
He's cute. This is awful. I hate that I have emotions towards this. This is bad.
Yeah.
There's nothing that will make this, like, okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's okay, and that's a problem.
Yeah. So Netflix gaslit us, and it's your fault. Don't be mad at us because we're reacting to it. There's actually, like, some really good, interviews about this like comparison of the ideology of the romantic comedies kind of funny things that happen versus what's happening in You, and that's from the author of the book, Caroline Kepnes. I'm sorry. She had this interview at Refinery 29 where she says there's this incredible moment in the show when Joe's hiding in Beck's shower and he says something cheeky like, "You've probably seen this before in a rom-com." And what she loved about that scene so much was, let's say Beck had opened the curtain and found him. She would have freaked out. Then she would have then gone out with her friends and told them the story. By then, it would already have been worked over in her mind. Oh, well, look, I'm so special that this guy snuck into my house to try and see me. It would start to feel like he didn't hurt me. He was completely apologetic. He was totally regretful and aware of what he did, which is the opposite of what we think of as a stalker. I can imagine a world where a few days later, Beck still walks back into that bookstore. Because that's what the romantic comedy would have been. right?
Yeah.
He'd been like, oh, I'm sorry, I just couldn't get you out of my head. And then she's just like, well, he didn't mean anything by it, and he just thinks I'm that special.
He was in your shower, in your house, without your permission.
And he shouldn't know where you live.
Yeah.
He also has only met you one time.
And he's in your shower. Shower. There's your bathroom. You know what you do in there? You don't want people in there. With you don't know that they're in there. That's all I'm saying. If I found them there of all places, I'd be like, okay, that's not cool. Against a backdrop of stalking, emotional blackmail, and gaslighting consistently being dismissed or glamorized as romantic, and victims being blamed for their abuser's toxic behavior, it's easy to see why this online reaction to you has played out the way it has. Joe's character's behavior is insidious, it escalates over time, and rationalizes each new leap. Exactly the way a real-life abuser might behave. The show invites us into his mind, but not to glamorize his behavior or even to make us sympathetic. It does it to show how easy it is to be drawn in by toxicity. This is taken from an article, IDUK, and it's how do you say it? Rosin?
I think Roisin Lanigan?
Roisin Lanigan.
Yeah. It's a really cool article that like summarized exactly what it is. That like the reason why we can be infatuated with Joe and also understand it is because it's like that old proverb of like, if you put a frog in a pot and you start to boil the water over time, that it won't hop out because it gets acclimated to the temperature the whole time, and then it just ends up boiled, as opposed to like if you just threw it into hot water, it hops right out. Yeah. That's like what these abuse scenarios would be, is that you are like, as the time goes on and you're like, I know this isn't right. Like, I know that it's not okay that you're in my shower. But then he's rationalizing it. And he's like, well, I'm not hurting you. It's because I love you. It's because I care about you. It's because you mean something. And then you're just like, well, like, I guess if you love me, I guess if you're not trying to hurt me, you just don't understand. Like, we can work through this. And so, like, each time there's like a new step that's like, that's weird. That's odd. Like, if he had started at 100, we're at a problem. Right? But like him
like he does murder Benji pretty early on.
But she doesn't know. Like, that's fair. As far as like the little things that he gets caught doing are so minimal, and he rationalizes it. And like even when he's murdering Benji, like he's rationalizing it and the audience is like, well, Benji does suck. He is honestly the worst. Like,
he should die.
He is a liar. Like, he is even gaslighting the audience in those ways. So I think it's like the constant like understanding, like, we're the frog, we're being cooked, we're not jumping out because we're like, it feels warm. It's a little warmer, but it's nice. Yeah. This big giant thing says it's okay. Here, I'm putting some carrots in here. I don't know why we're eating frogs, but if we were to do that, that's what happens.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense to me. We are there.
Okay.
Excellent.
Do you have any other words about you?
I love you.
Oh. Yeah. I love you. I thought it was really fun watching this because Peaches is actress from Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, she is.
And so
she's so much more grown up in this.
Mm-hmm. But I was just like, nice, because like that's also another creepy show, you know. It's also like you're being stalked, and she's like involved with people who probably she shouldn't be involved with. Yeah. And she also was a closeted lesbian in that as well. So eventually she comes out, but I thought that was cool. I like Peach's character.
Me too.
I wish there was more. I really, you know what I really, really, really enjoyed, and I think is important to talk about, is that point, I think it was just like mid-season, where we switched point of views, and for a day we got to see Beck. Yeah. That was so awesome.
I agree.
And you hear, like, and that is really honestly a gem, because when you hear that and you hear her rationalizing in her own head, then you're really brought to reality. Because, like, the whole time you're like, she's a slut, blah, blah, blah. Like, of course she's cheating, yada, yada, yada. And then it goes back to her, and you're like, no, she's not. She's just trying. Or, like, she knows that she's trouble. She knows that she's not the best. She knows how hard it is to be her. And, like, Like, she's just thankful that someone is willing to take the time, and she doesn't understand that other people care about her. And you just feel really strongly for her. So it's very well written. It's so entertaining. I'm pumped for season 2.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happened to Candace.
Yeah, the ending, great. I really like the ending.
I had someone who told me they didn't realize that Beck died, though.
Oh.
And I was like, how? And I was like, it did happen kind of quick, but like, also.
It all happens like if you're not listening to the words, because that's what it is. It's like, you died and your book is famous now.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Which is also messed up that, like, at that I was like, oh, that's so nice, though, that at least that.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt so, like, not okay
that's
with,
the
like, my
levels
point
of
of view.
He's like, you would be so proud. And it's like, she fucking would be too. She would be proud.
Like, oh my god, my book is famous. Thank you so much, Joe. And it's like, no, he fucking murdered you.
And now that boy is all messed up.
Yeah.
Just like him. I recommend it. So we're gonna talk about it.
Watch it, yeah.
Yeah, films. We watch some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff.
All right, so if you like it, it's Kidnap Me, Please. And if you don't like it,
no thanks.
Yeah, no thanks. Which is Penn's response to that poor girl. What are you doing? Don't add him like that.
People.
He's gonna be upset.
Kidnapping is not fun. Like, I don't know from experience, but like, also, I feel like you should go places with not against your will.
Honestly, I every day have so much to do. If you kidnap me, I'd be so mad. Like, there's 20 places I have to be. Can you at least bring me to those?
At least people would notice you weren't there. You would be noticed as being kidnapped pretty quickly. I feel like.
That does help me sleep at night, to know that, like, if I die in my sleep, people would wonder. Like, people would come and find me at least within, like, a day. Or 2.
I don't know about me.
Yes.
I like to be inside.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
you'd
would
be like,
know.
Kat's finally taking a break. Good for her.
I just peek in anyway.
Yeah, no, you would notice. And probably
I
my
always
mom.
notice.
And obviously, so.
Yeah. People will notice.
I would hope.
Yeah. But, okay, so for the topic of stalking.
No thanks.
No thanks.
I don't want any of that.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Don't
Bye.
stalk me or can I be please?
No stalking, please. Thanks. Yeah. Stalking is a no-go. If you are inclined to stalk people, if you feel like you're doing something that's a little creepy, if you are doing something where you feel like if you told someone that you were doing it and they would be like, bruh.
That's weird. Yeah, then don't do that thing.
Don't do it. And if you can't help but do it, then go get some help.
Yeah,
Therapy is totally cool.
Yeah.
Therapy is in now. It is okay for you to do therapy.
It's always been, but extra now.
Yeah, like now, like it's people are cool with it more so than they've ever been.
Yeah.
So do it. And understand, like, it's okay that if things like make you feel a little weird, if you're out of this element, if you don't understand what boundaries are, if you're feeling that, then seek help so you can feel it, so you can understand. And don't murder.
Yeah.
Rule number 1.
Yes, please.
Don't murder. How about for Swimfan?
I was entertained. It was weird. I don't think it's like, I guess kidnap me. Like, it's a middle ground. You know?
Yeah.
It's not kidnap me, please. I'm not excited. But like, I'm like, oh, all right, it's okay. Like, if I must.
Like, if I wake up here, I'm not gonna be like super bummed.
Yeah.
But I'm also gonna be like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not asking for it.
Yeah.
Like, please do that.
I agree. It was funny for me to like go back again because we have our analysis classes on, right? Mm-hmm. Compared to when I was a preteen watching it and being like, oh, this guy's so hot. He does swimming and this girl just really likes him. And oh, she's scary now.
Murder.
I was just like, don't act like this around boys. They're not going to like it. I learned some stuff. So for that, I'd say Kidnap Me, Please. But honestly, it's I mean, people don't know it, and that's for a reason. Because it's just not very well known. It's just not very well cared for. It's not great. It's not like this perfect piece of
By
film.
no means. It was funny. It was a time.
It's something. You don't have to watch it. No one has to watch it. Anyone watching it past 2002, just what are you doing?
It's real.
Yeah. Okay, and how about you?
Kidnap me, please.
Yeah. Joe, kidnap us.
One, because I really like the actor. I loved him in John Tucker Must Die.
Mm-hmm. I like Tucker.
He was not creepy there. He was nice.
He was really cute.
Yeah. And it's just like a really good show. I bet you it's an amazing book. It was very entertaining. And I thought it was just like smart. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was watching something smart.
Yeah. I'm 100% going to read this book. Like, there's no denying that. But like, yeah, I think it is Kidnap Me Please. And I just really enjoyed how they turn this narrative around. Because like, you're not an idiot. Like, you know that he's bad. And you know that you're being duped. Yeah. Like, you know that this is a trick. But it's still really fun to go on that ride.
Yeah.
And to see it. And it is just really kind of funny to see Joe like bumbling around like an idiot. Yeah. And just like not being able to handle that he is this way.
I thought that was really interesting. Like, it was also like, I feel like 50% of it I was just like waiting. I was like, he's not gonna keep doing worse stuff.
He's at least gonna hit a thing and plateau.
Yeah. He's gonna be okay. And it's like, no, he's not.
He's never
It just gets worse and worse. And I was genuinely hoping. I was like, Benji will be done. He gets her. It's cool. Everything's gonna be fine, guys. It's totally good. Just like, she can't ever know. But he didn't do something so irredeemable, I guess, other than murder.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Is like, when he gets her, he's unhappy because he has her and she's just who she is. She's not what he wanted her or to be. Like, not what he made her to be. Like, he just is existing and he's mad when she's just living her life with him. Like, he's like, how dare you not just like become this beautiful flower that I thought you were? Like, instead you're still that Beck that I don't know fully.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the whole core issue with the friend zone guys, right? Is that you or like that stalker that he is, that element of like, you have this person that's above you and you put them on this pedestal, and then when you meet them and you're like, whoa, wait a second, you're just a human person? Yeah. Maybe you fart sometimes.
It's crazy.
You have morning breath. Like, you make mistakes and you cry when you're sad and you watched a movie where a dog got sick. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it's like, like when that illusion comes down and the veil is down, you're like, wait. And he did that, and I thought that was, like, kind of cool. Because we got to see all aspects of that crazy relationship.
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting, though, like, later, like, when they ended it. I thought that was very interesting, that whole little period of time.
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand the part where the girlfriend who he left for her said, you saved me from... It's like, what did you know?
Yeah.
That
she
part
knew
confused
something,
me.
yeah. She knew something. If anything, she was just being more... She wasn't being manipulated the way that Beck was, though. So she probably had the opportunity to look into him further than Beck ever would.
That's true.
Because his guard was down.
Yeah, he wasn't, like, putting on any kind of airs.
Yeah. I really did enjoy, like, him... was like, how am I supposed to get over you if I can't watch you getting over me or something, like, because she blocked him, and it was so good. I was just like, oh my god, we've all been there. You stalk the ex, like, you gotta be like, what are you up to now? Like, and if you can't do that, you don't have that closure, right? He just would never have closure because he's crazy.
Yeah,
it's just it's very, very well done. It's I give it 10 out of 10 stars.
Yeah, it was honestly one of those things where it's like, I'd even rewatch it because I feel like there's things I'd missed.
Absolutely.
And, like, we'll catch the second time around.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that. I'd love to. All right, well, you know the rules.
Don't get married.
Delete your kids.
Yep.
Kidnap me, please.
Love you.
No thanks. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.